Hey guys, today is July 29th, 2015, and welcome to episode 17 of ReSergent. So two things I wanted to talk about today. One of them actually has to do with a very short conversation that I had with one of my managers as she was leaving work today. I was actually coming in from my last break. I took a nice little walk around the canal area and stuff. And when I was coming back to the office, she was actually just getting into her car. And I asked her, I kind of waved and everything, and I asked her how her day was. And she said that it was kind of rough, which is honestly the answer that I was expecting. I actually work in the funding department for a mortgage company, and since it is close to the end of the month, it basically is the end of the month, things are pretty crazy. A lot of the funders are actually working 12 to 14-hour days just to try to keep up with the files that are coming in, so things are a little crazy and there's all kinds of stuff going on. But anyways, she said it was kind of rough. And my feeling towards that was, tomorrow will be another day, just that kind of feeling. And as I told her, one of the things that I do to try to keep my battery charged is I go into nature, I just close my eyes, and I just kind of get a sense of where I am. And once I get that sense of where I am, I start to remodel what I am and also who I am, because I start to really understand that everything is kind of in a cycle. So the example that I used when I was talking to my manager was, I like to go to the beach and just kind of sit on the beach, listen to the waves crash. You don't really have to look at them crashing, but just that they're coming in and then they're going back out. They're coming in, they're going back out. There is a tide, so the ocean water itself, it does get closest, higher up the beach, depending on what time of day, but it does recede. Ultimately, it goes back, it goes forth. That's just another cycle in addition to the cycle of waves coming in, crashing, going back out. So anyways, that's the example that I provided to her. Another example in my life personally, just on Monday, going up to the top of Mount Wanda and meditating up there for a while, listening to some really good music, like some John Denver records, Bob Dylan, some just good music from the 70s. Kind of had that kind of mindset going, so it was great. But anyways, just being out in nature and just listening to the sounds of nature, and just like not being caught up in the whole world of, this costs this much money and I gotta make this amount of money, and just kind of smartphone technology, social media, just kind of like blocking everything out. You honestly cannot help but feel a sense of peace, because everything is doing whatever it's supposed to be doing. So like nature, is just simply around us, and we kind of realize that we are one with nature. We are animals. So there's that. And then also what I was telling her was that when it comes to because she was saying that she tries to maintain a certain positivity level. And the thing is that when I was telling her that maintaining a certain positivity level, it has to be thought the same as raising your boiling temperature. So say for instance, if you're trying to boil water versus trying to boil, like, let's just say milk or, some sort of thick fluid, it's different. So, the amount that it would require, the amount of heat that has to be applied, it has to be more for certain fluids. The same way that certain metals, like gold, you can melt gold down really easy. They put commercials about that. We'll melt some gold down and yada, 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 whatever. But there's certain metals, like such as titanium, which I mentioned to her, that they're a lot more difficult to melt down. So it's like you've got to become a different sort of metal. You're golden, which is great, but gold is pretty easy to melt. So you need to become titanium. So anyways, that's the example that I gave to her, and she, that works pretty well for her, which I was very happy to see that, kind of resonate with her, because it could have just as easily not made any sense whatsoever to her. So that was a great interaction I wanted to share that I thought was kind of interesting. Another thing, there's one of my coworkers, every time he leaves the office at the end of the day, leaves at 4 o'clock, he says, "sand free." And I've only been with this company for almost 2 months now, so I'm like, sand free. People seem to understand what that meant, but I of course did not, because I was very unaware. So one day I asked him, I was like, what does sand free mean? Like, what does that really mean? And his answer was, like say when you go to the beach and you leave the beach, you got some sand with you. When you leave sand free, it's like, I leave everything behind. There's not a trace of whatever sort of negativity, whatever kind of bad feelings. You're sand free. I'm out of here. So I thought that was a very great concept. And we all face negative situations, and sometimes when we carry those with us, there's obvious, negative effects. I'm sure we all have our own examples of that in our lives that we can call back to or whatever. As long as skipping, anyways. So we all have examples for that. I don't even have to provide one or anything like that. A bonus topic I want to talk about is kind of ties back to that first thing I was talking about when it comes like the waves crashing and all this kind of fun stuff. Since we are a part of nature, and the fact that everything is temporary, when it comes to like, whether it's like a conflict or some sort of a crisis or whatever, keeping it in mind that whatever is going on is temporary, it kind of allows you to kind of rise above that situation, kind of see it from a bird's eye view. Because whatever sort of conflict that we come across, whether it's, like, for instance, like I said, it's the end of the month, so in my department, things are crazy, but in a couple of days, it won't be. So, I mean, since we are intelligent beings, we can kind of be aware, okay, this is just kind of a little game that we're having to play right now. It will be over, and then we'll get to that next part. It kind of allows you to float in between circumstances, just kind of understanding that it's not the end of the world and that everything will be okay at some point, and then next time it'll happen again, and so on and so forth. It's just a better way to look at it from my experiences. Because again, nothing is permanent. Everything is temporary. So, there could be a mountain and it's like, wow, that's a really big mountain that I'm going to have to climb. Say if you're hiking up a mountain or it's in the way, it's like that mountain wasn't always there and it won't always be there. I'm sure a lot of us have seen Cosmos, the new Neil deGrasse Tyson one, where I learned for the very first time, I don't think I'd ever been taught this before, that the sun was not created in the Big Bang. I mean, hey, maybe I'm silly, but I don't remember learning that, and that it was made from the remnants of some other supernova stars. So it's like, we look up at that sun and it's like forever old. Nobody that we know was alive when the sun was created. That just, that's unfathomable. But it wasn't always there. Just in the same way that we won't always be here, our problems won't always be here. Everything is temporary. There's actually a little survey thing that I took on Facebook, the ABCs or whatever, and it was talking about like reasons to smile. And my answer was that everything is temporary. So it's like, you could have this really great experience. You go to Vegas, your kid is born, everything is great. But the fact that everything will end at a certain point, it's like you really get a chance to appreciate that thing or that person or that idea or whatever it is, whatever the case may be, because it will simply not last forever. It will not last forever in its current state. It will not last forever physically. It will not it's all temporary. So it just gives you a chance to really enjoy it, to really be in the moment, to not allow yourself to get caught up in anxiety or anything like that, because you just understand that even your concept of that situation that's causing anxiety is temporary in itself. So it's all just something that you get to laugh about. You get to realize that there is an opportunity to feel powerful if you want to feel powerful. There's the opportunity to, you may not be able to see it back there over my over my hood there and everything, but there's a gym back there that I'm about to go to and work out very vigorously. If I were to not believe that I was about to go do that, if I were to believe that I'm about to go home right now and play some video games, then that's what's going to happen. But for the fact that I'm like, here goes an opportunity for me to enjoy this experience, to make some improvements, to go with the best that I know, this is great. Because I understand that I'll be working on my fitness, I'll be getting healthier as a result of this dedication, but at some point my knees are going to have issues. I'm going to have to get a knee replacement. I'm going to have to go through the process of getting older and getting illnesses and all this kind of fun stuff. But in the meantime, I get to enjoy my temporary experience as being a somewhat young person who is able to do such things. I'm hoping to do a marathon sometime next year, for the fact that, hey, I am 28, I'm able to do these things. I'll enjoy this experience. And when I get older, I'll do things that older people do when I'm in my 40s, my 50s, my 60s, so on and so forth. And I will enjoy that as much as I enjoy what I'm able to do right now, because when I move on to that next level, I'm doing next level stuff. So that turned into a pretty much of a rant there. But anyways, I gotta go. There's more important things to do. I think I've made my point. I hope I did. Be well. Do the best that you can, have a great time, and laugh as much as possible.